my personal 5 favorite truck stops. Now, number 5, in Fort McLeod, Alberta, years ago, there was a little converted gas station on the right-hand side when you were headed south into Fort McLeod, and it was a truck stop, but it could only hold maybe a dozen trucks at best. But there was this old Polish lady and her husband that ran this little truck stop, and her name was Josie. I remember that. And she was just like everybody's grandmother. She knew you all by name, and she talked to you like you were a grandchild. The food was amazing, and for years now, that's been on my top 5 list. The gas station's long gone, Josie's long gone, but my God, it was just like going home to Grandma's house when you stopped there. Number 4 was Hucks in Mount Vernon, Illinois, family-owned truck stop at one time. I believe they're a Flying J now, but that was a good place to stop. It was homemade food in the restaurant. It was right next door to a Walmart, so that was handy for going to get groceries for the road. But it was one of the last family-owned truck stops in the States, to the best of my knowledge. And I mean small truck stops. I don't mean big like Moon's. But it was a really great truck stop. It had quiet parking and friendly staff. So that was number 4 on my list. Number 3 was Bosselman's in Grand Island, Nebraska. Now, I'm talking about the original Bosselman's that Chuck Bosselman ran himself with his father. And it had one of the first chrome shops ever. And it was kind of a nice place for us to stop because it was halfway between Ontario and California. And it just seemed like you met everybody there. Everybody was always in there. The parking lot was huge. The food was excellent. And the old Bosselmans even had pictures of the trucks of the regular guys hanging on the walls in there. And Chuck knew your name. The food was great. You could always get a parking spot in there. It was a huge parking lot even back then. The new one they rebuilt is beautiful, of course, too. But I think it's a pilot now. So that was my number 3 favorite. My number 2 favorite was an old Texaco station in Lubbock, Texas, and it was the original Rip Griffin. Food was good and it was friendly. They were, they catered to the drivers when they came in, and he actually ended up opening up a chain of truck stops called Rip Griffins, and I didn't get into that one in Lubbock very often, but I did end up a fair bit in the one in Rawlins, Wyoming, and there was saltwater taffy. I remember that. The food was good. It was home cooked food. It wasn't like a fast chain. It later became an Ambest, and it was a pretty good truck stop. I'm not even sure if it's who owns that now. I don't think Rip Griffins owns it anymore. But it was an excellent truck stop. It's hard to pick a number 1 because I really like the Moon's truck stops like Walcott and stuff like that. But there was a Shell truck stop, a small Shell truck stop on I-94. It was exit 110 in Michigan. And I forget the name of the family that owned it, but it was family owned. And it was a nice quiet parking lot. The people in there, the staff were great. And they had a family owned restaurant, and it actually ended up burning down and they rebuilt it. And the new restaurant was good too, but I'll never forget that original restaurant before it burned down. I had a bit of a horror story to tell you about that. I landed in there, and it was a Friday night, and I landed in there, and I was headed to the coast, and there were a couple other guys that I knew that landed. And so I don't know why I noticed this, but when I was parking, I noticed a guy, back then Werner had cab overs, and this cab over Werner truck parked right near me, and he was kind of following me into the truck stop, and he was a big guy, like 6'3", about 250 pounds, and he checked in at the fuel station there, and he got a shower ticket the same way I did, and so I didn't think about it at all. I just remember noticing it because the guy was so big. Anyway, I grabbed my shower, I head over to the restaurant, hook up with my friends over there. There's about 4 of us sitting at a table, and we're just ordering our meal, and all of a sudden, in walks this Werner driver Only this great big 250-pound guy had changed into a full dress, a wig, high heels, nylons, and full makeup on. And you know, that was the first time I ever saw anything like that in my life. And here was this football-sized guy dressed up like a lady ready for a Friday night date. And the four of us were just sitting there going, we just couldn't believe it. And the guy was so big you couldn't even laugh because you were scared to laugh because the guy might have come over and cleaned the whole table of us. Scared the hell out of me anyway. And I don't know if Werner Transport knew this guy was like a cross-dresser or what, but I still remember thinking, boy, I wonder if Werner knows, because it was the strangest thing I ever saw. Anyway, and I was kind of glad the restaurant burned down after that, just to get rid of my memory of that guy. But anyway, that's my story on my personal 5 favorites. Let me hear some of your favorites. Write in. I know I really like Walcott and Joplin, the big Petros there, and there's a lot of truck stops that are really quite good. But let me know what you think. Let me know your favorite truck stops. You guys take care, stay safe, and keep the rubber side down. I'll see you on the backhaul.